My name is Melissa Rickman. I'm the founder and the CEO of Holy Stromboli. This is Holy Stromboli, my life's dream. That was unplanned. That's me. I was a little girl. When I was a kid, I can remember making stromboli with my mom, the Italian breads as she would call them, filled with these beautiful meats and cheeses. I say that I've always wanted to own Holy Stromboli, and it sounds a little bit weird, right? Like I've always wanted to own Holy Stromboli. I didn't want to just own a restaurant, I wanted to own Holy Stromboli. And I don't say that I wanted to build Holy Stromboli because I already built it, like up here in my mind, in my heart. It was part of me. So the next logical, step for me was to own it. And that's what we did. My mom I used to say to my mom, you should sell a stromboli, like people will buy them. And she'd say, nobody would buy a stromboli. Well, last year we sold 25,583 stromboli. That's a shit ton of strombolis, right? That doesn't even count pizzas. That doesn't count sandwiches or pasta. People are buying stromboli. So why? But more importantly, why are they coming to this small town, Fort Lupton, to buy stromboli, right? Why are they coming here? Why are they making the drive? You can see it's a cute town, a little old, old-fashioned. At last count, our population was 6,500 people. Yeah, 49% Hispanic and a farming community. Most of those people had never even met a meatball, let alone the stromboli thing. And if you look at Fort Lupton, okay, here's Denver and the metro area. Where are my Colorado people? All right, well, yay, Colorado, right? Okay, so you all know this is where the whole freaking planet lives, and that's Fort Lupton. And they say Fort what? Because that's what people say all the time. Fort what? Where? Are you kidding me? So you can imagine that all of my friends, all of my family, and half the people that lived in Fort Lupton were like, she nuts? Like Italian in Fort Lupton? She's got to be crazy. There's no way. And then the financial crisis. We started our planning in what year? 2008. Yeah, right? The beginning of the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. Now, I'll tell you, you might have thought I was crazy, but I got restaurant equipment on the cheap, right? Those are my friends and family. They think I'm nuts, right? But I had a dream. I had a passion. And I knew, that's the mayor of Fort Lupton right there. See, he's quoted to say that I was crazy too. Either crazy or the biggest balls he's ever seen on a girl, right? So we knew, though, that being in our location, that we had to make Holy Stromboli so amazing that people would come from all over just to come to our restaurant. We had to make it that wonderful that people would be willing to drive. So this is our town, Fort Lupton. That's our building right there. Just kidding. The thing is that not only were we crazy enough to decide to put an Italian restaurant in Fort Lupton, but I bought the biggest damn building there was, right? Almost 10,000 square feet. So then I got to thinking, how the hell am I going to pay the rent? 6,500 people, half of them of which don't venture outside of their own culture to eat or eat at home, right? If you own a farm, you don't eat out. You eat fried chicken. I don't know. I don't live on a farm. I'm a city girl, right? So we had to make it amazing. We had to make the sights, the sounds, the smells so inviting that the people that walked through our doors told everybody they met, you got to go to this place. It's amazing. They have street signs. They have chefs with wine bottles. The food had to be perfect. They had to talk about it so much that they would tell everybody they knew. In fact, there was a pastor 3 towns over, told his congregation, okay, there's this place, Holy Stromboli, you got to go. It's a little ironic that they would be talking about it in church, but it was the truth. And they came. Whole neighborhoods of people came to Holy Stromboli. So how do you achieve that, right? How do you create a destination? How do you get people to come to your place? Well, isn't it like everything that we do? What do you start with when you set something out, set to do something, right? You start with a recipe. Well, creating a destination is just like everything else that we do. We're going to start with a recipe. So here's our recipe card. For us, we always knew our why. And that's what you have to ask yourself. Why are you doing this? Why did you want to open a restaurant? Why did you want to open a restaurant? I'm putting you on the spot.
It was my passion, just like yours.
Yeah, right?
It took me about 40 years.
40 years. 35 for me. Yeah. It starts with a clearly defined why. Now, we always knew our why, and we always knew what our mission was, but it took us a while to put it into words. I still can't say that mission without getting teared up. So I'm not going to say it, but you can read it. And that is in everything that we do. So we're going to start with our recipe. Our first ingredient in our recipe is atmosphere. You eat with your eyes first. It begins at your very first sight, right? The first thing that you see, the host, the lighting. For us, it was important to know the science behind color and how it affects the human appetite. So for us, colors of red, like the color of marinara, and the color of red ripe tomatoes, and wine, my favorite food group. Beige, rich beige colors, like the color of pizza dough. And deep chocolate, like tiramisu, and a good cup of cappuccino. Those colors really, they affect your appetite. When you see those colors, you start thinking about food, right? So it's really important to know how those colors affect your atmosphere. And then lighting. A well-defined lighting plan can do so much for the room, for the feeling. And then you have to look at for us, the next step was to look at the natural characteristics of our building. We have a 106-year-old building now, 106. That stairwell in the middle of the restaurant, was that a pain in the ass? Was that an issue, or was that an opportunity? Because what East Coast eatery would be complete without a subway station and Mel's Produce right there? You know, that's our little Brooklyn street scene. And so what does that do? You get people talking. You've got to get people to talk about you. You have to get them to say, holy cow, there is a subway station in the middle of Holy Stromboli, and you have got to go check that out. And I will tell you, people all the time, I'm in the office and I hear them, there's really a subway here? Yeah, there's really a subway in Fort Lupton. But the fact of the matter is it really gets them thinking and talking about you. Every need, every challenge became an opportunity for us. For us, it was important that everything be intentional. Look like we did it on purpose. These are our heat lamps. We had to have heat lamps, right? And there's all kinds of heat lamps and are all pretty generic, but ours come out of water spigots. I don't know if you can see that. Those are hose bibs. Why? Why do we do that? Well, why not, right? Hell, make people talk. There are people who say, you gotta go Holy Stromboli, their heat lamps come out of spigots. Why? Because it's cool. Well, our 102-year-old buildings, 106-year-old buildings have challenges, right? Presented with all kinds of challenges. We don't have weight-bearing walls. And you might think that's cool until everywhere you turn, you find a pole in your way. There's a pole here, there's a pole there. Well, finally, this pole, we decided to, make it an opportunity. So we framed it out and put a hand sink on it, right where our guests can see it. So now it's an opportunity for our guests to see that their health and their well-being is important to us. It's right there front and center. We're washing our hands and they can see it, and that's an opportunity. So that pole that might have been a pain in my keister was really an opportunity to wow our guests. The That's our Times Square ball. We're an East Coast eatery. One of our sections in the restaurant is called Times Square. So we put up a Times Square ball. Celebrate New Year's Eve. We celebrate it at 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, East Coast time. That would be midnight. So it's just another way to get people to talk about you. And things make it memorable, right? We've replaced our table numbers with significant landmarks in New York. We have Park Avenue, we have Little Italy, and it's just a way to make people remember you. And they turn it into a game. Well, we sat at Park last time, we're gonna sit at Little Italy this time. And it's fun, and it gets the kids engaged. This is our building. And that's Guido. He's our mascot, he's our logo, but really, people connect with him. It's our brand. And our brand is really important to us. And whenever you can make that brand front and center and people can connect with it, take the opportunity. They know, they see that guy, they call him the guy. They see the guy on the building and they know there's Holy Stromboli and they connect with it. If those 106-year-old walls could talk, they would tell so many stories. And I think the reason that's important is because you saw in the video that we connect with it. We connected with our community. They've been there for us. And we really want to pay respect to that. So, like I said, if those walls could talk, they would tell you about the guy who used to own the building, who loved his whiskey. And the whiskey bottles that we found under the dish pit floor that we put on display. Or the signs from the previous tenants that used to be in our building that we hung on the walls. Or the brick that we restored. All of that is a labor of love, but it's our passion. And that shows. And it gives people something to connect with and something to talk about. So it's really about how you make people feel when you come into your restaurant. So our restaurant looks great, right? That's important. It's got to look good. Our second ingredient is hospitality. Can you tell me the difference? I'm going to come pick on you, Jacob. Can you tell me the difference between hospitality and customer service?
Hospitality is more about the customer experience, and customer services kind of for a smaller category of that. Yes.
Yeah, on the right track.
Well, the way I see it, hospitality is, which is something that we take seriously at my restaurant. Treating people like they would come to your house. You got to be very hospitable from where they sit, what they want, make them happy. And then the customer service is to be able to offer what they expect from you. They're
Yes.
paying for a service, and you have to give it to them 110%.
That's right. You're exactly right. Yes, you're exactly right. Hospitality is how we make people feel. And customer service is, did I refill your drink? Did I get your order right? And did I give you a takeout box before you left? They have to coexist. You have to have both. You can't be really nice and sweet and then fuck everything up, right? You can be like, oh, that was the shittiest meal, but she sure was nice. You can't do that, right? So they have to coexist. But I would say you could execute 100%, get the meal right, get the drinks filled, and somebody would never come back because they didn't feel welcome, because they didn't feel that hospitality. So that's what we're going to talk about, hospitality. Hospitality, though, starts with you, and it starts with your team. If your team doesn't feel appreciated, if your team doesn't feel welcome, if they don't know that you care about them, can they pass that on to your guests? They can't. Because hospitality starts with Eric and I. It starts at the bottom. We are the foundation of that business. And so when we show our team hospitality, they pay it forward and they show it to our guests. So what can we do? At Holy Stromboli, we do a few things. When it's hot, we buy ice cream for our team. You go to the grocery store, what does that cost you? It's more the gesture than anything, right? We have our own line of greeting cards. We have thank you cards for when they go above and beyond. We have welcome to the team cards for our new team members, condolence cards, and anniversary cards. All those things mean things to your people. It's important to recognize them. We also sing happy birthday to them and give them a scoop of Spumoni ice cream. Now these cards, everybody on the team signs the cards, including Eric and I. And I would tell you that those little gestures mean so much, and they go so far. This is Russell. She's our employee of the quarter. So this is our digital signage, and it's called What's on the Table. And she's front and center, right in front of, and especially in front of our guests, right? Because it's important. She cried when we put that slide up. She was so proud. She also got a parking spot for the quarter. So we have a great atmosphere. We appreciate our team. How about our vendors? How about our Osco guy, the linen guy, right? We have our Stanislaus reps who take great care of us, our Cisco driver. Do you think we should show them some hospitality too? Anybody know why? Anybody know why? Because they're potential customers, right? They're our partners. We couldn't do what we do without them. And they're great word of mouth. My Osco guy, his name is Stan. His wife's name is Kathy, and they have a husky named Sasha. Do you know why I know that? Because I took the time to find out. I made it important. It's important to me to know about him and take interest in him. And you know, he's one of our best customers. And he supports us and we support him. So, you know, hospitality just doesn't just stay in your four walls. And finally, your guests, right? Okay. So hospitality for us takes many shapes. This is Heather. She's one of our servers. She understands how important it is for that guest experience to start from beginning and go all the way to the end. So let me ask you, how many times have you gone to a restaurant, you are asses and elbows in the booth, right? And the server goes, oh, do you need a box? And throws a box at you and walks off, right? You've got plates everywhere. You're trying to scoop the food into the box without making a mess and spill it all over yourself. And you accomplish that, right? You got it. I got this. All right, great. Where do I put the plate? Shit, where do I put the plate? Okay, Eric, move everything over. Let's find room for the plate. You get it accomplished, and she's like, is everything good? Yeah, okay. And she walks off, right? And you're like, that sucked. That was awful. So how about we take the time to bring over a tray and a stand and box it up for them. And then we're going to put it in a bag. Because you don't want them to walk out with this tower, takeout boxes. You ever seen that? You're walking out and you're like, oh, Jesus, I don't want to drop it. And inevitably it's going to wind up on your sidewalk or on the floorboards of their car. Does it take an extra minute? It does. Does it take a little more money because you're sending bags out with every takeout box? It does. But it's hospitality. It's that kind of hospitality that makes people talk about you. It's that type of hospitality that makes people say, I want to come back. I want to go there, and I want to bring my friends and family. We sing happy birthday to every guest every time. It doesn't matter how busy we are. We take the time to do it. It's important. See how happy all those people are? It makes you feel good. It makes a guest feel good. It gives them something to talk about. What we recognize is that lady right there, you know what she did? She made that conscious decision to say, I want to go to Holy Stromboli for my birthday. That's where I want to go. And isn't that worth something? That's worth a lot. So do we take the time to sing happy birthday to her? You betcha. Every time. Wiki sticks. Who knows what wiki sticks are? Awesome. They're great, right? I love them. Kids can't color on my walls. It keeps them occupied. We're not quick serve, not by any means. Mom and dad want to enjoy some wine, want to take their time. Wiki sticks keep the kids busy, right? Fun. But we've gone ahead and inserted our kids menu right into the wiki sticks. Wiki sticks will do that for you. You just send them your file and they'll stuff them and everything. It's really great, and it gives people something to talk about. And the kids, who knows here that the tail wags the dog, right? The kids drive our dining decisions. So how many kids are going to go, I want to go to Holy Stromboli because I want some wiki sticks, right? And then you get these cute little wiki stick art from the kids. All kinds of designs. The coolest one was the parents did it and they wrote thank you on the table. And then, you know, like I said, there are so many things that we do that take time. And I would tell you, if you slow down, you'll find so many amazing things and amazing ways to wow your guests. So when we're not busy, we're having a pretty light night, we'll take kids back and they can make their own pizza. What's that worth? How many kids are going to say, oh, I want to go to Holy Stromboli because I got to make my own pizza? But you know what mom's doing? What's mom doing right now when that kid's making the pizza? Mom has her glass of wine, and she's in my kitchen with her camera, and she's tagging me on Facebook. She's checking in on Facebook, Instagram. She is all over the place. She's sending the picture to her friends. Look at my kids making this pizza. That's a photo op right there, right? And it gives that warm feeling, that feeling of, you want to reciprocate that, right? Hospitality. How many times you see your guests struggling to read the menu? Some of us are really having a hard time with that now, right? And they break out the cell phone and it's, too much light, and it's kind of, what if you just handed them a branded flashlight and said, here you go, keep it. And then they put down their keychain and it makes people talk. And they say, holy shit, I went to this place and I couldn't see the menu and the host handed me a flashlight and told me to keep it. Make them talk about you. Okay, so let's recap just a little bit. Is there water? There's no water. Okay, we're gonna recap. Our place looks good, right? Okay. Hospitality, check, right? We know how to treat people, we're nice. We go above and beyond. Great food and drink. So let me ask you guys a question. By show of hands, how many of you have horrible food? Right? How many of you got in business to say, I'm going to serve up the worst food you ever had? Nobody. That's absurd, right? Okay. How many people here, by show of hands, have the best pizza? That's right. We all do. We all have great food. But what makes you different, right? We all have great food, but how are we selling it? How are we telling people that our food is great? And what are we saying about our food? We chose newspaper. How many people walk into our place and go, holy crap, the menu is a newspaper. There's value in that. And then we talk about what we do well. We came to this competition 3 years ago, and we won Best Non-Traditional Pizza in Mid-America. And we shout it from the rooftops. The Baltic Circle pizza, are you kidding me? $20 for a 10-inch pizza. And you can't change it. You cannot change it. You have to eat it as is. You can't take anything off. You can't put anything on. Makes people talk. Holy cow. I paid $20 for this 10-inch pizza, and it was amazing. And they won some kind of award, right? We all have a variation, right? We all have the best pizza. Like I said, we all have the best pizza. We all have the best hero sandwiches. What sets you apart? Lots of guys have meatball sliders, but they have meatball sliders like that. Quarter-pound meatball on a halved garlic knot? No, they don't, right? Some of you might have strombolis on your menu, right? Lots of people do. Do you have a 24-inch stromboli? No. That makes people talk. Holy hell, I went to this restaurant. They have this stromboli. It's 24 inches long. Those sorts of things that really set you apart from your neighbor. Set you apart from the guy down the street. 20-inch pizza. Lots of 20-inch pizzas. What's special about your pizza? What's special about your pizza?
Well, where I'm at in San Diego, we import water from New York, and that's kind of given us an edge over some other.
Yeah, and you tell people about that?
It's on top of every
Yeah.
box and menu, so it's our marketing thing.
It's your marketing thing. It's what makes you special. What do you do that's special?
Our crust is amazing.
Yeah?
We love the crust like we do.
And you tell everybody?
No, we don't.
You don't. You should, right? It's what makes you special. In our neck of the woods, most people don't know what a 20-inch pizza is. They haven't seen a New York pizza. They haven't met a meatball, let alone know what a 20-inch pizza is. It's that wow factor, right? Chips and queso? I don't know if I've ever seen that anywhere else. Well, we do it right. You've got queso, you have pasta chips made from our lasagna pasta, cross-utilizing ingredients, but make people talk. We also use those same chips to make Italian nachos. But be authentic. We can throw together our ingredients and call them Italian nachos, but let's be authentic about it. Be intentional. So you've got Italian pasta chips with sausage and roasted red pepper and cream cheese on the top. Be intentional. Utilize your ingredients, but make it on purpose. Not just kind of what I had laying around, right? We took that same opportunity with our bar offerings. People have said I'm crazy. It's true, right? They say I'm crazy. Same thing with our bar offerings. Before craft beers really fully had gained their popularity, I pulled Bud Light and Coors Light off the taps. I figured if you couldn't tell the difference between the two, then I don't want them on my taps. I'll carry them in a bottle, and if you want a Bud Light or a Coors Light, you can have it. But when you come to Holy Stromboli, you come for an experience. So I want you to try our local partners. We do business with Echo Brewing. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. Left Hand Brewery and Big Choice Brewery in Brighton. And those are who we choose to partner with. When you come to Holy Stromboli, you get to try things that you wouldn't normally try at home. You can have a Bud Light at home, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not saying it's not a good beer. But when you come, I want to introduce you to things that you wouldn't normally find. And we take the same approach to our wine and our cocktails. We really try to do business with small boutique vineyards. We carry a beautiful wine list that makes people talk. And that's why you drive, right? This is the arch nemesis of my servers. Anybody know what this is? Yeah, Italian cream soda. They hate these things. You can get a Pepsi or a Coke anywhere, but where can you get an Italian cream soda, right? It takes time and it takes effort, but what I would say to you is that the amount of time or the amount of money that it takes to box up food, to sing happy birthday, to make an Italian cream soda, to make a 24-inch stromboli that may not have the best profit margin is minuscule in comparison to the loyalty that you will receive from people and the wow factor that makes them come back, that makes them drive 75 miles one way just to come to your place, that makes them drive past other doors to come to yours. And when you're creating a destination, that becomes vitally important, right? When you're in a large community and there's at least 10 other pizzerias, and they only have to drive 5 minutes to get past one of those doors to come to yours, it's good. It feels good, right? And that's a good thing. But when people are driving, when they have to drive to your location, what do you have to do to get them there? And then to get them to come back? Number 4, ingredient number 4. Well, let's recap first. Atmosphere, right? Our place looks good. We're treating people right. Our food is rocking, right? We've got great food. Now we have the hook. The hook is what gets them through your door. The hook is what makes you different. The hook is what makes people talk. In any great destination, you have to find your hook. So, has anybody heard of Lambert's Cafe? Sykeston, Missouri, right? Sir, what did they do at Lambert's Cafe? That's right. Home of the throwed rolls, right? How cool is that? Does that make people talk? Heck yeah. You couple the throwed rolls with a really cool atmosphere. Here's this guy. And great food. And they become a road trip must. How many people have driven out of their way to go to Lambert's? We did, right? And it was cool. It was awesome. And how long did you talk about that for? And how many people did you tell about these throwed rolls, right? This is a Colorado favorite. Who's been to Casa Bonita? Okay. So, Casa Bonita really, they specialize in really creating an experience. I say it's like Mexican food and Disneyland wrapped up in one, right? So we have cliff divers, they have themed rooms. Let me go back to that one. So like every room has a different theme. They have a fortune-telling gypsy. Now I'll tell you, they didn't go in with the intent to have the best Mexican food. Not by any means. But it's experience. They created an experience that makes you talk about them, that makes the kids want to go, that makes the parents go, oh, well, we'll be eating, and then they can go run around and play and, have a good time. But look at this. Does anybody know what that flag is for? That's right. How cool is that? How cool is that? If the flag is up, bring me more. The flag is down, oh my God, I'm so full. Like, ingenious, just that little flag, but that creates so much interest and talk. It makes people want to come back. And finally, White Fence Farm. Anybody know White Fence Farm? Yeah, these folks have it figured out. They created a destination. In 1920, they opened up this restaurant in an old farmhouse. Every room is a different theme. Every room has these family-style tables, huge, right? And you can eat in any of these rooms. But what they do best is this fried chicken. It's hand-battered, and you get the same sides every time. You get corn fritters and black bean salad, and it's served family-style, as much as you want. And then after you're done, you can take a carriage ride on the property. They have a petting zoo for the kids. And it's a great experience. And that's what we're creating. We're creating an experience. We're giving people a reason to talk about us, to tell their friends why you should go there. So our last ingredient is the most important one. And before I go into that, I'm gonna ask you guys, think about what's your hook? What is it that you're doing that makes people drive to your location? What's different about your place? What's your hook? You haven't opened yet. Okay. Who here has a hook? I'm so sorry. Wait. You haven't opened yet, but do you have one? Do you have in mind what you're going to be doing to be different? Oh, that's okay. So your hook is your New York water. Is that right?
That's from a pizza shop, but we have a restaurant, Italian restaurant, where when people come for the anniversary and if they're proposing, then we give them a lock, and then we simulated the bridge from Ponte Vecchio, which is it's the name of the restaurant. People go outside and put the lock on the little bridge. Throw the key away.
That's really cool. That's your hook. Did everybody hear that? So if you get proposed to at this restaurant,
or if they want to buy the lock for $5,
they can buy the lock for $5.
If it's not their anniversary.
If it's not their anniversary, you get a lock, right?
And they write on it.
And they write on it, and then you get to throw it into the lake.
The key gets thrown away, but the lock goes in a chain bridge that we have.
A chain bridge. I kind of butchered that. I'm very sorry. Tell me, let's see. Do you have a hook? What's your hook?
Yeah. So we're at a New York City pizzeria, and we have a secret Italian restaurant in the back.
You have a secret Italian restaurant in the back?
Yeah.
That's a hook. That's a hook. People drive?
I mean, we're in New York City, so they probably take a train and walk.
Good point. So you might be asking, what's my hook, right? What's my hook? Well, I already told you. I get these big, giant 24-inch strombolis. I treat you like your family, right? And we box up your food for you. We have big 20-inch New York pizzas, and our dough is aged for 72 hours. And my restaurant looks like a New York street scene, right? We've got table names or landmark names instead of table numbers. All of those things draw you in and create that experience. Something that people tell me all the time is every time I come to your restaurant, I see something that I hadn't noticed before. I didn't see those heat lamps last time. I didn't see the barber shop up above the arch. Whatever it was, they see something new every time. And that's what keeps people coming back. And then our last ingredient is the 100% rule. The most important ingredient, because you can have great atmosphere and you can have great hospitality. Your food, well, we all have great food, right? And you can have a hook. But can you do that 100% of the time? At 100% volume. 100% of these ingredients. Every one of these you have to execute every time. Or that drive that people make no longer becomes worth it. Because it only takes one time of cold food, or maybe the host didn't greet you at the door with a warm smile, or we didn't box up your food because we thought we were too busy. For you to say, there's a pizza place down the street from my house, and I don't have to drive an hour to get there. Let me put this picture in your mind. And this is the example I always give to my team. Because sometimes they go, Melissa, you know how busy it is? I don't have time to box up food. Are you kidding? You want us to sing happy birthday? There's a line out the door. Is that their decision to make? How busy is too busy to be excellent all the time? How busy is too busy to do the things that make you excellent? Is there an answer to that question? Is it like at $1,500 hours? Is that $2,000 hours? Is it when you're short-handed? There's always a reason. But think about this. You go get your oil changed in your car? You have somebody do it? You don't? Okay. Who here gets their oil changed? Backfire on me. Okay. All right. So you go get your oil changed, right? And what do? They put plastic on your seat and they put paper on your floor, right? And what's that for? Why do they do that?
So they get their greasy hands all over your car.
They don't fuck it up, right? Okay, all right. So you go to Jiffy Lube and there's a line out the door, right? You pick up your car and damn it if there isn't grease on your seat. So you call the guy. You're like, oh, what happened to my car? And he goes, you wouldn't believe it. I was so busy today. I didn't even have time to put that paper on the floor and the plastic on your seat. Sorry. Like, oh well, right? Is that okay?
No.
Was that a good excuse? No. There's never a good excuse to not execute 100% of your ingredients at 100% volume 100% of the time. Because it only takes 1 hour drive to your place, or even a 20-minute drive to your place, for somebody to say, I can get mediocrity down the street. And they will. And they will. And so that's what we teach our team, the 100% rule. So we're going to recap one more time. Atmosphere, right? We got to look good. We got to have hospitality. We got to make people feel good. We have to have good food and drink, have a hook, and do it 100% of the time. With that, I will open it up to questions. You guys have any questions? And we can talk about anything too. I mean, you know. Yes?
How far is your restaurant from like your city? How far do some of your customers drive?
So we've got a group of people that drive from Elizabeth, and that is 75 miles one way. 75 miles one way. Yes?
In such a small town, how do you find your employees?
Do we have to talk about that? Okay, it's tough. I'll tell you that Eric and I did a lot of research, okay? If we were going to have enough people to eat our food, what the demographic was, and we did all of that from a sales standpoint. What we forgot to figure out is whether or not we're going to have enough employees. And while we are all struggling right now with that same problem, it's hard. It's very hard because, you know, to get people to think about driving to Fort Lupton to come eat, once they hear about us, it's not a problem. We get them through the door with all of those things. To get somebody to think about driving to Fort Lupton to go to work, it's hard. And so really it's about retention for us. It's about hanging on to those good people. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I love where we're at, and I love the building that we chose. I love the fact that we can make our mistakes in Fort Lupton and not be like in a big metropolitan area. But that's the one downside. It's true. Yes?
How do you guys keep on top of maintenance in the building that old?
It's so hard. So Eric does some of it, not a lot. We're really blessed that our prep guy used to be a hotel maintenance guy. So one day a week, he does things like cleaning the ceiling fans. We are lucky that he knows some like minor plumbing and that sort of thing. So he does help us with the maintenance of the building. And then Eric's like the jack of all trades. So yeah, it was a full-time job.
What percentage of your customers are local?
Are local? I will tell you that the larger makeup of our guests come from a 30-mile radius. 30. It was a little bit challenging because, well, for one, they were like, Melissa with the hair, thank you. Like, they were kind of like, who's she? Like, she wants to open a restaurant. And there was that small town kind of mentality that really stood in our way a little bit. It's not as much so now, but honestly, like, the bulk of our customers come from a 30-mile radius. Yes?
Was it really a haunted restaurant?
Yes, it is. You know, you always kind of like, oh, that would be cool if the place was haunted. Yeah, the place is haunted. We've had like dozens of investigators come and check it out. They flew me out to Canada to do like a story on it. But yeah, it's haunted. It's not bad. It's nothing malevolent, but it's kind of fun. We don't deliver, and I'll tell you why. I feel like delivery is a whole separate business, right? You have to run it separately, and it takes so much attention and time away from what we're doing in-house. And we really operate by the notion that whatever we're going to do really well. And so if we do delivery, it's just going to take our attention from what's going on in-house. So we don't. But I'll tell you, our takeout business, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, takeout business is up 5%. Kind of hit me off guard. I was like, wow. So, yeah.
What is success are you going to open more locations?
That's the million-dollar question. I don't know. Honestly, like last year, I was dead set on opening another location. I don't ever want a bunch of Holy Strombolis. I like to have 3. We have 2,000 square feet in our building that we haven't developed yet. And honestly, the stories that I hear from a lot of operators that have more than one location always ask me the same question. They say, why? Why do you want one? Why do you want another set of fixed costs, overhead, employees? And honestly, we're successful. We're successful with the one restaurant, and we have a lot of opportunity for growth. So once we maximize that location, then I can honestly answer that question. It may very well be enough for me creatively to do that and be able to do other things in that building to where I don't need to open another location. But there's the pride thing, right? It's like, I want to have multiple locations. I just can't answer that question right now. Yeah. Yes, sir.
How long did it take until you were doing the volume you need to sustain yourself?
Well, we were only in it about 1 year when we were profitable. But I didn't take a paycheck. I didn't take a paycheck for 3 years. We took every penny and reinvested it. Now, had we not done that, had we not built a patio Had we not built a 3,000 square foot speakeasy in our basement, had we not done those things, maybe it would have been profitable to the point where I could have taken a paycheck sooner or paid myself or, you know, whatever you want to call it. But 1 year in, we were profitable. Is that true? Yes, ma'am?
Have you ever taken on?
No, I'm a control freak. No. Yeah, I don't know, because I just always have this feeling like the silent investor ain't going to be so silent. You know what I mean? And honestly, we've been able to operate in a way that I think we just made our last payment on the loan that we took to build the restaurant. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm not so sure I want to go back from that. Yes, sir.
What do you recommend for like an interior design? Or I guess an interior design where you get the neat lamps and stuff like that. We just get a regular interior designer or just something?
I'll do it. I'll do it. I did that myself. That's definitely one of my passions, and I really enjoyed it. And it's really, if you don't have that skill, hire somebody. Just don't be afraid. You know, one of the funny stories is my family, Eric, my mom, my dad, his mom and dad. The question was, what colors are you going to paint the place? Because you're going to make it look small if you go too dark. I have 17-foot ceilings. Nothing's going to make it look small, you know? And they kept badgering me. And so finally one day I snuck out to Home Depot and I bought red and I bought brown and I bought like every bold color I could find, you know? Because I kept telling them, I'm just going to paint it beige. I'm going to paint it beige just so they'd be quiet. And you can't be afraid to take risks, you know? So I painted the place red and brown and it was great. It worked out all right. So if you're not good at that, hire somebody. Or hire me. Call me. I'll do it.
What kind of experience did you have prior to that? Were you in the restaurant industry or a chef?
Well, so the last time I had worked in a restaurant, I was 19. And when we opened the restaurant, I was 36. That was my experience. What I knew was how I wanted to treat people. What I knew was my gift in this world was to feed people. And then we came here. I'll tell you, this was the single most valuable thing that we did, was come here for 3 years before we ever opened. Because all those unanswered questions were answered here first. And in fact, I had my own question this year. You know, this is a big year for me as far as change goes. And I came with my question, and it was answered. Yeah. I mean, so there's always something, excuse me, to be learned here and to be gained.
How hands-on are you now with the operation itself of the business as opposed to
Of course you would ask me that. Yeah. Too hands-on. I need to let go. It's hard. You know, for 9 years now, I wake up and I go to Holy Stromboli, right? And I manage everyone and everything. And I think you can only do that for so long. And it's not good for your organization, and it's not good for you. And so about 2 weeks ago, I stopped going to the restaurant every day. The first day was freaking weird. I was like, what do? I don't go to Holy Stromboli. Like, there's plenty for me to do, right? I can work on my business from anywhere. But yeah, I'm dialing it back. And it's different. It's good. It's good for everybody. But it's a challenge. It's hard. And I'll tell you, I'm out here in Vegas and I'm not worried about them. But if I was at home, I would be worried. Like I'm supposed to be there, you know? Are you trying to dial it back?
Well, yes. And actually, I'm mixed on it like you. Going, oh, back in the next thing. I'm at that point in my life, and it's a tough call, really.
Yeah.
Being hands-on, so you only get that one call that something went wrong, and you say, if I was there, it wouldn't have happened. It's the control thing.
It is the control thing, and it will kill you and it will kill them. And I'll tell you, somebody told me something really, it was really eye-opening yesterday. And, it really kind of hit home with me. And she said, all those things that we look at, right? All of those things that bother us. All the forks on the floor, right? We're always worried about those. And we're like, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and there's a fork over there and you didn't, right? And then you think, how come they don't notice this shit? Like, how do you not have eyes? Like, how come you're not seeing the forks on the floor? You know why? Because you're always pointing them out. It's not right? Well, if Melissa's going to notice them, I don't have to. I don't have to notice that. She'll get it, right? It's just like, who's the best expo in your restaurant? Is it you? Expo. Yeah? Are you the best pizza cook?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but you were, right? Yeah. So they don't have to be. They don't have to be because you are. I'm the hardest damn working person in that restaurant. It wasn't until I hired a manager just like me that I noticed it, because I saw her run and answer the phone while everybody was like, oh, she's good at that. Look at that. Yeah, go get the phone, you know? And then I saw that in myself. And so back to what I heard yesterday that moved me so much is she's like, did you open a restaurant to create your own job for the next 20 years? Because if that's what you're doing, is there any benefit to that? You could just go work for somebody else, and the benefit to that is clocking out. You could leave that shit at the door, right? But if you open your own restaurant, shouldn't you be able to go travel and enjoy your life? And isn't that the payoff for your investment? Isn't that the payoff for the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into that place? Right? And I thought, holy cow. And she's like, and I don't mean like coming to Pizza Expo or going to the NRA show. I mean like really getting away and enjoying your life. And that was so moving to me. And that's why I say like every year I come to this show, I learn something new. And that was my lesson for this show, was like, all right, yeah, I didn't do this so I could be a slave to my business. You know? Yes?
In order to get all of that to happen.
Okay. Well, systems and processes, right? What I left off about the 100% rule is it comes down to procedures and processes. And so for each position, we have a training guide. And in Eric's really, where I have some benefit is that where I lack, Eric is strong. So he's good with systems and processes and analyzing things. So we have probably we're about like 80% complete on our training programs. There are still some positions that we haven't done it for, and it's obvious where you haven't, right? So we've got a training guide, we've got tests, so you quiz people out on that stuff. The challenge is to be able to carry that out when you're not there every day, and I would say get good people on your team. So we have a core team of people that have been with us like 7 years, like Rick, the guy that you saw with the beard. His 7th anniversary is tomorrow. And so he knows what our core values are, and he knows what's important to us, and he makes damn sure that it happens. So when I'm not there, he knows, hey, this is how we do it. And it also has to be, it can't be how you do it. It can't be like, Melissa wants it this way, she's going to kick your ass when she comes back. Because then they'll only do it when you're watching. Or if it's personal, they'll never be willing to change. And so if you hire a good manager and they want to like be innovative, the team won't do it because they'll be like, Melissa wouldn't want it that way. And then it makes you like look like this crazy control freak. So it has to be about how we do things, and you have it in your culture. Like you have to infuse that, and so that your team knows that's how we do it. And they have to know why. Like it's so important for these guys to know why they're boxing up food. Because if I just tell them, box food, or I'm gonna cut off, or I'm gonna whack your kneecaps, they're not gonna do it, right? But they see the value in that. And it's really funny. I tell a story. I was out on the floor, and we had this server who just wouldn't box up food. Like, I wanted to kill her. So I walked up to her, boxed up her food, and I put it in a bag, and the guy handed me $5. I said, oh, is that for your server? For you. Thank you. I was like, holy hell. Like, I always knew up here it was worth something to people. It was worth $5 to that guy. So I sure did go up to the server and go, that guy gave me $5 for boxing up your food. And why did I tell her that? Yeah, to encourage her and to show her that it has worth. And that's why we're doing it. Because that simple act of boxing up food and putting it in a bag means so much to people. They remember that and they talk about it. It's like, wow, okay, yeah, I get it, right? Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes, sir.
What do you do for marketing, especially initially?
We don't market. This is what we do. We have a highway sign. We get elbow to elbow with people in our community. We work with recipes, right? We have a recipe for giving. And that means that we give of our time, our resources, and our product, the things that we do best. So we provide spaghetti for the spaghetti dinner with the police department that raises money for kids' school supplies. And we happen to give away grocery bags with our logo on them at that time. We do things like there's an organization called CoMom, and they provide free dental work for anybody who will stand in line. And I think it's on average of like 1,000 people. And they'll do everything from a full set of dentures to like fillings for free. All you have to do is show up. Well, there's 300 dentists and technicians that show up. So we went and we fed them all. You know, and when I talked to the coordinator, she's like, I said to her, if you had your like wish, like how much food would we give you? She said, well, if you feed 40 people, that'd be good. I said, 40 people? Are you kidding me? Let's feed 300. And by the way, we want to go ahead and provide food for your end of the, you know, the shebang that they do at the end for the dentist, the party. That's marketing, right? Yeah. People were talking about us and they're like, holy cow, look at this spread. And you know, we just kind of went wild with it. Tablecloths and bread with dipping oil and Italian music. So that's how we spend our marketing dollars, because it's important for us to give back. And I think you can have, you know, you can pay for an ad in a magazine and people may or may not see it. But from that article in the magazine, can you really tell what you're about? Can't. You know, so anytime that we get involved in a lot of community stuff and we compete. And we entered a chili cook-off. And like 2 towns over, and we won, you know. Pizza competitions. We're invited to all kinds of competitions like Best of Adams County. We're not in Adams County, and that pisses them off because we go there and we win. But we get out there, you know, we put up a booth, we're talking to people. So that's the type of marketing that we do. We just don't pay for ads and stuff like that because, you know, it's hard to track the ROI on that stuff anyway. I saw somebody else. Yes?
So for 17 or 18 years in between 19, what did you do? Because you're a very forward thinker. You're not a typical restaurateur. So what did you do? Because you're great.
You talk like a sailor.
I do talk. It was so awesome. I do talk to. My mom said that to me the other day. You talk like a sailor. I'm like, who did I learn it from? Well, I'm from the East Coast, so that's how we are, right? And I am a forward thinker. I don't like to think inside the box, and I certainly don't like to be like anybody else. And I'll tell you guys, I was so nervous up there earlier. This is my first one, so thanks for bearing with me. I feel a little more comfortable now, so I'm really sorry. But it's like this. I was in auto finance, healthcare finance, and I did collections. I freaking hated it. I hated it because I sat in a cubicle and it's just not me. Like I just want to be out there. And the other thing that I really wanted to do was give back to the world. So I went from collections and working in an office to working in an emergency room because I thought, I can help people. You don't help people. Like, they hate you. They're like hurting. They're pissed off. They're angry. Like, you're up all night. There's 0 rewards. I'm like, oh, this sucks. So I went back to collections. And the VP of the company, I was a middle manager. And I would get my way up to middle management. And then what happens? You get laid off or the company goes out of business. So the next opportunity comes and you work your way up. And I was sitting at my desk. I'm like, this effing sucks. Like, are you kidding me? Here I am again. I worked my way up and I'm just grinding away. And I had noticed that the morale in the office was really bad. So I went to the VP and I said, can I cater lunch for these guys? He's like, I don't care. Yeah, here's the credit card. And so he shows up to the lunch. He's like, the hell? Oh my God, what is this? Like, it was the spread. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. And he goes, you have a fire in your belly for this. I'm like, oh, yeah. So there's this whole stromboli thing that I want to do. Like, oh my gosh. And I would put all this stuff in them. And he was like, that's crazy. Why don't you go, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, because I got kids, right? I got to make a paycheck. I got to make a living. So that's why I'm here. He laid me off. He laid me off 6 months later. And he goes, I'm doing you a favor. I'm like, the fuck you are. Like, I'm glad you feel good about that. But I was, this is my second marriage, and I had moved up to Fort Lupton with Eric 6 months before. I had 2 kids, and I got laid off, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what am I going to do? Like, I got to tell the guy that I just moved in with that I'm laid off, right? So I drove home, and I remember I stopped at every place that I could and picked up an application, because I had convinced myself I was going to have a job by the time I got back to the house. And it didn't happen. I called him and I said, my boss laid me off, and he said he was doing me a favor because I have a fire in my belly and I should open a restaurant, and it's just so dumb. And Eric goes, okay, well, let's do it. And I'm like, what? He said, you want to open a restaurant? You've been talking about this holy stromboli thing for like, I don't know, 5 years. Do you want to open a restaurant? And I said, yeah. He said, okay, let's do it. And that's it. We did it. Yeah. And so I don't like to think inside the box. Our Italian wedding soup, I change the ingredients. I don't do it like everyone else. And everyone's like, that's not Italian wedding soup. That's different. I said, okay, well, we'll call it Italian divorce soup. So we have Italian divorce soup. People talk about it. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
How many times did you come to the expo before you?
3. 3 years in a row. Funny thing about Expo is I had seen it on Food Network when I was 18. I was like, that's badass. Like, I got to go there. One day I want to go there. And I told Eric shortly after, he agreed that we would open this restaurant. So we go to this Pizza Expo thing. He's like, okay, and we came here, and I will tell you that there isn't anything else that we could have done that was better than to come here to prepare. Like I told you, he's the numbers guy. So restaurantowner.com, they have some great classes on accounting, great classes on food costs. Like you guys know, everything that you need to know about running a restaurant, you can learn. And it's just such a resource. So yeah, we came for 3 years before we ever opened, and I don't think we've missed a year. Yeah.
You said you have an extra 2,000 square feet of empty space.
Oh yeah.
Are you planning on expanding what you have, or like doing a whole cannoli bakery or something?
I want to expand what we. Well,
Also what you do,
an extension of this concept. Yeah. So what I really want to do is really create different streams of revenue that don't always depend on butts and seats, right? So one of our disadvantages, thank you, in Colorado is weather. And because we're so far out of the way, if it's snowing, people really don't want to drive, right? So how can I capture the locals? Well, maybe I don't feel like eating out that night, but I want to grab a dough ball and make a pizza at home with the kids, right? Or maybe I'll pick up a pound of fresh pasta. Or I've already eaten dinner, but I really want a cup of espresso and some tiramisu. Those are the types of things that we're looking to do out of that space. We need to gain a few more seats, and we definitely need more kitchen space. So we're doing I think we're on track to do like $1.5 million right now this year. And we do it out of 2 prep tables. I've got saute, pantry, fry on one prep table, and I have everything else on the other. And it's like this really well choreographed dance. Like these guys are like, okay, you stay in your spot, I'll stay in my spot, and we'll be good. And it's amazing. And we pull off, that amount of sales with most of the time with 2 cooks. And it's really amazing. So we're super blessed, but we need the space. We need the space because I feel pretty bad for them. It's pretty cramped back there. But, and that's why I say there's lots of opportunity there to be creative in that 2,000 square feet. Part of it's bar space that we have. And that'll keep me busy for a while, So we'll see. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming, you guys. Thank all of you for coming very much.